Hi all, I'm Tony Тодд, General Director in the Актогай mine site. I originate from Australia in a little town called Bathurst in New South Wales. I then went over to Western Australia, and for the last 13 years I've been moving around the world in expatriate roles. Had places like Colombia, Madagascar, the DRC, in the Congo, and now here in Kazakhstan. 19th of November 2019, very cold. I went into Almaty, arrived in Almaty on the 19th, and it was snow covered. Now, coming from a small country town, I got used to snow, but when I arrived, I did the inductions in Almaty. Then I arrived here on site on the 27th of November. And on the 27th of November, I arrived here at the Актогай train station. It was minus 30. And it was a shock to the system. It was very cold, very, very cold. Being Australian, it was very cold. So I've worked with some very large organisations in the mining industry, some tier 1 miners. So, and also I hadn't really been involved in a copper concentrator. So I didn't really know what to expect when I came to KAZ Minerals from a plant-wise, from a mine site-wise. So I was pleasantly surprised. I was certainly in awe of the magnitude of the concentrators, and also then being part of the ramp up in Актогай 2. It really was amazing. It's been a great journey. Look, a bit of history on myself. My childhood, I was raised again in a very, very small town, similar to the Aktogayan copper people, or the copper people here. I only had 100 people in the town, very small community, a church, a shop, a pub. That was it, and 100 people. So it was a small community with farming, so cattle and sheep farming. And then I went there close by. There was another town, which was Bathurst, where I went to all my schooling. So I was lucky enough to go through private schooling, boarding schools through most of my career at school. But my childhood memories were very much of very small, very, very small country. And that's one of the reasons why I get on well with the copper and Актогай people, because I understand their culture. So when you finish your school, you always want a career somewhere. Your dreams as a child were, in reality to what you actually are different. I thought I would be a farmer. However, there was a very large power station, a thermal power station, about an hour away from where we lived, and it was a 500 megawatt power fired power station. So I actually went there to apply for an apprenticeship or in bricklaying, and I was phoned to say that I didn't or wasn't successful within the application. However, they were building a second plant, so they actually offered me either an electrician, a fitter machinist, or a welder. So they offered me 3 different jobs. So I chose, and the career path I chose was a fitter and machinist. On the farm, you do a lot of welding. You do a lot of tinkering with electrical as well. So the fitter and machinist, or mechanic is what you call them here, was something new to me. So I started my career in the Electricity Commission in New South Wales, is what it was called then, as a 16-year-old. 42 years later, I'm still particularly in heavy industry. I've never left it. I had 16 years in the one particular job. Then I moved to Western Australia, into the mining industry. So I've been in the mining industry now for 22 years, and I've grown up through there. I've done a lot of commodities from iron ore, nickel, copper, zinc. I was a semi-professional sports person, so I had a lot of psychology. I had a lot around some very well-rounded mind people. So the development of a team spirit and a team sport, rounded from captains, people being your captain in the team. I took that and actually then also understood how I developed my leadership within the industry. It's really about the people. And one of the main benefits I find of my leadership is the ability to listen. You really need to listen to people and understand what they want and what they require. As everyone has, in relationships, you have that, you've got to listen to your wife and you've got to understand what she wants, vice versa. So it's around communication. But one of the greatest impacts that I've had within the industry is around listening to people and understanding what it is. So, it's very important to understand from Oleg and Mr. Kim top down to our blue collar workers, but also listening from the blue collar workers from the bottom back up, so I can intercept and then understand what we're all about. Communication. Communication is the most important part to me in the teamwork and that sort of thing. If you don't communicate, I'm not a mind reader, we're not mind readers. We can't sit there and pretend we know what someone else is thinking, we don't. So it's the art ability about communicating with your team and having them communicate to you. So again, with my background and coming up from the tools all the way through, I understand, I have the inbuilt ability where I understand what the blue collars want, because I was a blue collar worker many, many years ago. So I understand how they think, how they react, and how to get the best communication from them, and where they're not intimidated by me. So again, going around different countries in the world, your position becomes intimidating. So I try and make sure that the people are not intimidated by my position. We are world class. We have world class systems in place. We work with the government on some of our implementation and some of our new software. So it's really important for me to stand in front of our people and get my face to the people. I do it in different ways, where we have town halls every quarter. We walk around, I talk to people, but I think it's invaluable that I meet and greet the new people when they come here to site. I ask them the concerns. I ask them, have they worked in the mining industry before? KAZ Minerals is completely different than any other mine site in Kazakhstan. So we want you to be more adjusted, more acclimatized, and put your hand up when you don't know something. The motivation for me to working here is really around giving my experience back to the nationals, handing over. So this is not about the Tony Todds of the world and you must do what I do. It's about a legacy. So I've been open to and exposed to a lot of very good systems in the world from different mining companies and all that type of thing. So you look at what I've been exposed to and how I can bring that to. So what excites me is about engagement, getting people to understand the different procedures and philosophies, and some of those were like when I implemented through here lean boards. In the initial part, lean board is red and green. Are we doing well? Are we not? So when I introduced it here, the funny concept was, if it was red, all the nationals went, oh, they're going to fire me. What am I going to do? But once we got them across the line and to them to understand, red is not bad. Red just means that, yes, you may be doing your job, but you may need help. So that's what I get excited about, getting the people to come out and actually understand that we're not here to punish them for doing something wrong, or if something's red, it may be a procedure, it may be something else. So I get a lot of enjoyment and satisfaction about driving systems into the culture. One of the big ones here for me as well was the excitement about giving the people the power of engagement. So the MMA, my favourite place, one of my favourite places here. So, they've got a Caterpillar 4-star, and it's the only one in the CIS region. So I sat down with the team when I first coming in, and I was only acting over there, helping out. They'd lost a manager, so I went over there and helped out. So it was actually Jamie Karate. I was actually working under Jamie Karate, reporting to Jamie Karate at the time. So how things change. But I got the guys to understand what we needed to do and how it would actually influence the business. It took about 6 months for the guys to take ownership, and that's what I want, ownership. And the culture here, if they take ownership, it's amazing what happens. Once they took ownership, it's now grown. So if I walk over there now and I've got a bit of dirt on my boots, they will actually pull me up. But the ownership over there in MMA is just amazing. It takes a while to change the culture, but that's a clear sign of how you can become better at what you want. Look, balanced lifestyle. Being in the mining industry for 22 years, so I met my wife 19 years ago, and she's only ever known me as FIFO or doing it. So we have a unique relationship where we do respect each other. She understands what I have to do. So work-life balance is here. You've really got to try and switch off of a night time. You can't go to bed thinking about your day. So I try, and I'm quite active at the gym. Everyone sees me down at the gym. So either daily or every second day I'll get to the gym just to try and cut out the actual work. When I go home, unfortunately, within this position, the work will follow you wherever you are in the world. So that's fine. That's a part of what I need to do, and that's a part of what that's my job description for Oleg, Andy, and Mr. Kim. I've got to be there at all times, and that's what I try and do. So it really is, you have to have a balance of switching off, but you can't completely walk away from it. You still have to do it, because if you do come back, it will, then you'll have 2,000 emails you need to get to, and that's not good for the business either. So you've got to maintain. Once you become a manager, you really are at work a lot of the time. So you've got to balance that lifestyle, family. So for me, and my response or my recommendations to those new managers out there, you've got young families. When they go to bed or your wife goes to bed, have half an hour. Just do your critical emails, and you'll find that the work-life balance will be much easier to handle. Look, I like going to the gym. Love spending time with my wife. We like to travel. She's Eastern European. She's actually Hungarian. So we see a lot of the European bloc and that type of thing. And again, working around the world, I've had an absolute fantastic opportunity to travel in those local areas. So travel, learning cultures, hear a different culture. And this is one of the things that I love, learning the cultures and that type of thing. So for me, coming into KAZ Minerals, coming into Kazakhstan, I hold my hand on my heart and I thank the people here, because it's a privilege for me to come to these cultures, to understand the locals, to understand what they want. Not for me to try and change them, but to understand, where we need to go. And so these cultures are really challenging, but I love to understand the different cultures, and that's by traveling. My Kazakh and my Russian is minimal. I know I'm quite intimate in Spanish. My wife is also Hungarian, so I can talk Hungarian, Romanian. English is the three languages I can communicate in, okay. But I've been open to French, Kazakh, Russian, Spanish, Hungarian, Romanian. So I've been in Swahili. So I've been in the last 13 years, and probably so your mind switches, and it's just like it's too much. So to be respectful, you always learn the respectful words. Can you, thank you, please, the Shiba. Look, I'm extremely lucky here. A lot of my managers all speak fluent English, so very, very good. When I go out, I always take a translator with me, Anna or Yelena. They're the key to me. They are really my backbone to communications. And it's making sure they understand my communication and what I want, and for them not to change the wording in there. As you change the wording, it gets interpreted differently. So that's the difficult part. So it really is critical that when I interpretate through Anna and Yelena, that we get the wording correctly. So it can be interpreted differently, but it's important that I have these people, and I try, as I said, I try to communicate very, very small and minimal into some of the languages. So some of the support services may understand that they believe that they're number one for the business, but we all, at the end of the day, we're all here to get copper out the back door. So we're all here to support each other. So for me, the lessons I've learned here is really breaking down those silos and getting everyone trying to work together and trying to go on the same page. Recommendations for my team? Yes. Listen and try not to get frustrated. It's very easy to get frustrated when we're in a very high-paced environment. So on a day-to-day basis, everything changes here. Within the hour, every second hour, everything changes. So it's always a moving target. We know what we need to do at the end of the year, when the end of the month, and by the end of the day. So it's really about, my message to my team is always about listen engage people, and if people are not, then escalate from me, because again, a lot of the things that happen underneath me, I don't really need to know. Only when things are, that's their jobs and responsibility. So we talk about layers, so 3 or 4 layers down. If I get down that far and micromanage the people, they're not doing the job. So my main messages to my directors and my managers that report to me is listen, understand what your priorities are. No, I actually find it quite easy. And the reason I say that, and people say, is it stressful? Yes, it's stressful to a degree. How to manage the people? By employing the right people, the right skills. I always try to hire people smarter than me. I am a technical expert in certain areas, but I don't want to be that technical expert in a lot of areas. So when it comes down to my concentrator director or my mining director or my technical manager, I want those guys to be a hell of a lot smarter than me, where I don't have to micromanage them, because if they're not, then I'm telling them what to do. And that takes me away from the big picture, which is safety and delivery of copper. So my attitude is, it makes it easier if you get the right people. These people sometimes, they're hard to manage, but they're very good at what they do in a specific, very technical point of view. So that makes my job a lot easier.